What's up, everybody? My name's Trey. This is Denzel. Welcome back to Better Days Sports. And the NBA playoffs are in full effect. Some series are basically over. Other ones are coming down to the wire. But in this episode of the podcast, we'll actually be talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Miami Heat. Now, Cleveland is up 3-0 in this series. It doesn't look great for the Miami Heat. But Denzel, how are you feeling about this series in particular?
Well, like I told you before, the Miami Heat in this series is just at a different phase of their game right now. I don't think that they have something they could offer that would really be better than what they're already doing with the current roster they have. I know there's some internal issues with players that, we won't necessarily get into, but when you're wondering why certain players are playing, political reasons and internal issues is the reason why. But they're trying their best. Apparently, my friend actually went to one of the games, and apparently the swag they give out is amazing. So if you're a Miami Heat fan, go to the game just for the swag because not a lot of people are going. Same thing with the Memphis Grizzlies. But yeah, man, again, when you have Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and Garland didn't even play last game, but those key role players that we talked about in previous videos, they stepped up and they were able to. Cavs have it just works. They are able to have bigs that help when what's his face didn't do as well. Jared Allen, and earlier games, and then later games he picks it up and he has a double game. So I mean, it doesn't matter, man. DeAndre Hunter chipped in, they just are well rounded and they are healthier than what I thought, to be honest, because I thought the Celtics were healthier, but we'll get into that later. This is all about the Cavs and the Heat, and Cavs, clear cut. Get your brooms ready, man. Shout out to Cleveland, dog. All the Cahokia Heights and Cleveland Clinic and all that other good stuff.
Yeah, we definitely called the sweep coming from this series specifically, and it's coming to fruition beautifully. So big shout out to us for calling this one. But it just looks like the Cavs are just a better team in every way, shape, and form. Their bench is better. Their role players are playing better. Their stars are playing better. And I think you can really tell from this series in particular when arguably your second best player in Darius Garland doesn't play and you still blow out your opponent in the fashion that they did. The Cavs are well coached. Like I said, everybody seems to know their role. Even when a star goes down, people off the bench come in. They might have to pick up their game a little bit, but they're still playing good basketball, still within the flow of the game. I'm actually surprised that the Miami Heat didn't kind of clear out their bench earlier and let some of their younger players actually play. Because they have some promising young players. And I know a player that you're pretty high on is how do you say his name? Jaime, is that his name?
Jaime Jaquez.
Jaquez. Well, he only played 5 minutes this game, but it's like you have promise, and if you're getting blown out, why not get your younger players on your team actual minutes, get them used to the playoffs, getting used to the environment of, what big games are supposed to feel like. I understand they lost, but you can still definitely learn from losses, and I think this is kind of a big missed opportunity for the Heat. Like I said, we both said that they were going to get swept, and it just seems like they're doing some of the younger players on their roster a disservice. The Cavs dominant in every way, shape, and form. I think it's going to be time for the Miami Heat specifically to have a real conversation about Bam. Bam has not shot well this series. He has not even looked like a second option. He's looked like a third or a fourth option in this series specifically. So I think some big moves are going to have to be made for the roster of this team because it just doesn't work together. But how are your thoughts on the Cavs when it comes to, the next round of the playoffs? Do you see this kind of being the staple of what the Cavs are going to give you when it comes to just blowing out teams, or you think it's going to kind of tighten up in the next round of the series? Now, the only thing that I wouldn't say worried about, but this is Donovan Mitchell's worst shooting game by far that he's had so far in this series. I would like him to come out aggressive, hit some shots early on, and then we can kind of take him out. Because if he comes into next game and he still has a problem kind of, finding his stroke, I don't want him to come into the next series just basically not being hot like he was at the beginning of this series. So I definitely want to see him start out strong. I know not having Garland definitely kind of hurt his shooting percentage because they kind of honed on him a little bit more, but it will be nice to see him come out, be aggressive, hit some shots, and then kind of take the starters out and let the bench kind of take over, because Ty Jerome on most teams is a starter. So for this specifically, let him cook, let him get some more playoff experience, let him hit some big shots, get some pictures for the gram. So definitely think that it'll be nice if he can get this figured out. And like I said, Garland, hope you get well soon. And Wiggins on the Miami Heat, I think might be one of the bigger kind of trade targets for some teams this offseason. For whatever reason, Wiggins has just throughout his entire career just never lived up to the I am a number one option on my team. I'm always the second option. I'm still going to be a person that, for the most part, gives you 20 points a game, plays really good defense, is solid in every aspect of the game. I'm just not the put the team on my back, ride me to the playoffs, and I'm that guy. But I know a lot of teams would love to add him to their roster, especially if they're not having to give up major pieces. So that's also a hot take that I'll throw at you. I think Wiggins is going to have more suitors than you would kind of imagine him to have, and a lot of contenders are going to look to add him to their rosters. But do you have a hot take? Anything you want to share before we get off of just the Cavs and the Heat?
I don't have any crazy hot takes today, and I think that's okay. What about yourself, Mr. Davis?
I think the way this, especially if they get swept, I think the Heat are going to enter in a full-on rebuild next year. I think.
Oh yeah. I'm with that all the way.
And the thing is, the Heat haven't necessarily been in a rebuild since kind of LeBron left. The Heat have just always been good enough to be competitive. I think this may be the year where you really get off of a lot of assets, get a lot of picks for the future, ride with some young guys. The record's going to look real bad, but we're kind of going to look at this team probably the same way that we look at the Brooklyn Nets, in the sense that when they play, it's going to be very hard, tough games, but they're going to lose a
Brooklyn
lot.
Nets?
Yeah, look, the Brooklyn Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets have foiled some teams down the stretch before the playoffs.
Ouch.
It's not a bad thing. They understand that it's a rebuild. You got to play young players. You're going to lose a lot of games, but you're going to be competitive. So I'm calling it. They're going to be the Brooklyn Nets, but better coached. They're going to lose a lot of games. They're going to lose a lot of games next year, and they're going to trade off all these assets. But how do you feel in the comments down below? How do you feel about the series? Are the Heat getting swept? Like I said, it's already 3-0. Only one more game, and to be honest, they might be able to sit all their starters and still come out with a win at this point in time. It's just not looking good for the Heat. But if you are somebody that's new to the channel, new to the podcast, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be notified every time we post a video. And leave a comment in the comment section down below of how you feel about this series. And we will see you in the next one. Peace.